Y'all, I'm going to tell you the truth if nobody else does. That new planner that you're thinking about ordering that's in your cart, it's not going to change your life. That vision board that you created on Pinterest that is gorgeous with all of the inspiration that you could ever wish for is not going to change your life. You jumping on the winter arc bandwagon is not going to change your life. But I will tell you and promise you absolutely as living proof what will, and that is creating systems. Systems in your life that will be able to have you unrecognizable 6 months from now when you implement them with fidelity. So we're going to deep dive in today's video with even some of the examples that you all shared with me on how you take a goal and you create a system around that goal so that you are living fulfilled and happy. So let's dive right in. So be honest, how many times have you seen someone with a beautiful planner with all of the bells and whistles, and this person is so highly organized that you're like, if I could just find the right planner or the right productivity system, I would definitely finally be able to run that 10K. Y'all, this right here isn't going to get you up and running. How many times have you read book after book after book and thought to yourself that one of the systems in my life is going to actually be changed because of what's in this book? Not going to happen. What is going to happen is when you take the information in these books, you take the tool that is a planner and you put them all together and you create a system. So how do I create a system? I know what my goals are. I know I want to read 25 books this year. I know I want to pursue that career as a comedian. I know I want to absolutely make a career change. I know I want to spend more time with my kids, but I just can never get the traction to do so. It's because you're sitting at a goal and you're never moving into the system. There are 5 main parts to any effective system. And the first one is identify current patterns and behaviors. The second one is going to be how we find our pain points. The third one is creating simple solutions to address those pain points. The fourth one is going to be test and adjust. Step 5 is going to be build consistency before complexity. So let's break these things down. So let's first break down what is the difference between a system and a goal. So let's start with the one that we are the most talented at developing, and that's goals. Goals are outcomes. Goals are almost like an autopsy. It's over. This is the end result. This was the outcome. So your goals are, like I said, I want to read 25 books this year. I want to be able to run a 5K. I want to finally be able to lose this 20 pounds. I want to have more healthy habits. I want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to meditate. Those are all outcomes. You know, when I was a principal, I used to tell my staff all the time, take care of the players and the scoreboard will take care of itself, which really meant that the input, the things that we were doing, if we did the right things, that we would get the results that we wanted. And so the same thing is true for you. So a system is the routines, procedures, habits that allow you to achieve your goals. So think of these things as, number one, sustainable. Think of these things as routine. Think of these things as habitual. Think of these things as autopilot. They are things that you do, and you do them because you are obviously trying to reach a goal, but they are embedded in your day-to-day life or whatever the time span is that you've identified for your system. Now, there's goals, there's systems, and then there's tools. What are tools? Well, tools are your planner. Tools are your cell phone. Tools are apps that you download like Notion, Asana. Tools are a streak tracker. Tools are a calendar on your desk where you're writing things down. Tools could be a journal. These are things that in isolation are not going to move the needle forward, but when they are embedded in a system, they are just as effective as the system, because that's a powerful duo when we can get those two things together. So let's talk about building your system. Before we build our system, we have to identify our current patterns. We have to identify what are we currently doing in life on a day-to-day basis. What does our morning routine look like? What does our work routine look like? What does our after work routine look like? What does our bedtime routine look like? Like, where are we doing with this God-given 24 hours of each day? Now, if you need help with what an effective morning routine looks like or how to be productive after work, I have videos on both those topics that you can go check out. But as far as building the system, you've got to step back. Whenever you decide to lose weight, it's usually you step back and you're saying, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds because I I don't feel good. I don't look good in my clothes. Then you identify, oh, I'm probably overeating, or I'm eating late, or I'm not having enough water or fruits and vegetables, or I'm not working out and I'm just not doing what I need to do. You have to identify before you even start building out a system what your current patterns and routines are. Do you even have any current patterns and routines? Because that may be part of the problem itself, is that you don't really have anything in place. So you have to think to yourself, when are you the most productive and motivated throughout the course of the day? Is it in the morning time? Is it in the afternoon? Is it on the weekend? Are there busy pain points over the course of your week that just don't make it ideal to be able to do something? So let's run with the example, because many of you shared it about wanting to read more. I want to read 25 books. So how would I identify my current patterns if that was my goal for, let's say, the year? So I could review when I have free time. Am I able to have free time after work? Do I have free time before work? Like, when do I have free time? Do I have free time like on my commute? Like, when do I have time to read? Maybe I need to consider like my current environment for reading. Is it on the couch? Is it in the bed and maybe I'm falling asleep, or I'm grabbing my phone and scrolling? Maybe I like to go to Starbucks or a coffee shop and sit down and read. I just like to be in an environment where I feel non-distracted. I need to evaluate what that looks like. Maybe if I'm not reading at all, I need to take a time evaluation of what I'm doing with my time while I'm not able to read. How much time am I on social media? How much time am I on YouTube? And can I replace some of that time to read? So then step 2 in your system is finding your pain points. This is where you're going to analyze where you get stuck. And the best way to do that is to let history be the best teacher for you in a system, because most of the time when people have goals, they've tried this goal before. So say, for example, the goal is, once again, I want to read these 25 books. Where have you gotten stuck in the past doing that? Maybe your pain point is you have to take your kids to practice every day after work, and when you're in the car, you're answering emails, and you really just don't have that time after work to read. So maybe the pain point is the solution to that is possibly moving in the morning. Only you know what your pain points are. Only you know where you start to fall off and get unmotivated. Maybe your pain points, if you want to lose weight or eat healthy, is you really hate cooking. And no matter how many times you've busted out multiple recipes, you're just not inspired to do that. And so maybe addressing that pain point is doing some outsourcing for your meal prep, or finding something that's a lot easier to get done, or picking a recipe that you can just have over and over and over again that you actually enjoy, and it's simple to make and it's not time consuming. So step 3 is to design straightforward fixes for that. So I kind of just alluded to that at the end of step 2, but in the pain point of not being able to read, perhaps because you're taking your kids to practice or you're having responsibilities after work and you just can't find that time to read, maybe the solution and the straight fix to your pain point is to carry your book with you at all times. Maybe you will find yourself like, oh, hey, I'm sitting here waiting 15 minutes for my kids to get back in the car. Let me go ahead and grab my book. But if I don't have my book, I'm not able to do that. Maybe the simple solution to not being able to read is to move away from actual paper copy books and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to listen to something on Audible while I'm in the car. Maybe the solution is that you find for your pain point not being able to read after you get off work is that you get up 15 minutes extra earlier in the morning, and that's your system for being able to read. Maybe your pain point solution to not having time to read is that you get out a timer and that you commit to yourself that you're going to set it for 15 minutes and you read for those 15 minutes uninterrupted, and you're being able to achieve your goal. There are so many ways that you can correct your pain points, but you have to know what they are to begin with. And then in addition to that, you've got to create a solution for them. Once you find your solution, then you need to test and adjust. You need to do something for at least 2 weeks to be able to see if it's really truly going to stick. A lot of times people do something, and if they don't immediately get positive momentum like a snowball, they abandon it. And I know that it seems like something as very simple in this video that we're using the example of being able to read for, 20, 25 books a year seems something that, how could you not find 15 minutes to read? There's 24 hours in a day. How could you not find 30 minutes on the weekend to read? But you would be surprised on how much self-sabotaging and obstacles can get in your way. So you've got to test your system. You've got to figure out where pain points that maybe you didn't think of come into play. And then you make small refinements as needed. Like, you don't abandon the system. Like, that's what people do. They abandon the system and then they hop on to the next thing and they want to start all over again with creating a brand new system when you don't have to do that. Just make the tweaks and the adjustments. And step 5 is build consistency before complexity. Pick simple solutions and do those consistently for an interval of time. Now, a lot of you that watch my videos because I talk about productivity, I talk about organization, I talk about wellness. I'm gonna tell you the absolute honest to God truth. The reason why I'm able to do those things is because the systems and routines I have in place. My morning routine is so clockwork and so autopilot. I'm probably actually going to insert a video. I stopped today when I was driving to a meeting because I was eating an English muffin and I realized I eat an English muffin every day. And I know that seems silly, but I thought about what it represents. The fact that that is such an autopilot thing. I'm gonna get up every day and work out because it is ingrained. I'm gonna get up every day and pray because it's ingrained. I'm gonna get up every day and do it. But I promise you, when I started, it was difficult the first 3 weeks. It was difficult the first 2 months to do those things. It was cold outside, or I'm sleepy, or I went to bed late, and there were so many pain points that I had to tweak and adjust and figure out what works for me. But it was the consistency that helped me get to the routines. It was the consistency of figuring out an upload schedule to do YouTube. It was the consistency of what I do when I get off work so that I'm able to have time to de-escalate. It's the consistency of every Friday, no matter what, my husband, Juan, and I are going on a date. And those things now are so just normalized that when they don't happen, that's what feels awkward. So if I could give you some tips, I would say start with one system at a time. Start with one goal at a time. Start with one routine at a time. Now, me personally, I think everyone's morning routine is the key to a successful day, but not everybody is the 5 a.m. girly. So I understand that, but I just think so much happens when you're able to level set and start your day off productively. And so that's just my personal opinion. Keep it simple initially. This doesn't need to be complex. You don't need to be trying to go from I don't run at all to I'm trying to run at 10K. Track what works and what doesn't. Be honest with yourself, be reflective of yourself, and say, okay, if this didn't work, why? Was it me? Was it my environment? Was my motivation? Was it my discipline? You know, motivation and discipline are very important when it comes to reaching goals. I also have 2 videos on that. I'll also link down below, but step back, be reflective, and figure out, why is it that you weren't able to reach your goal or keep the consistency going? And adjust based on real results, not aspirational results. I remember one time I bought a pair of pants that I really, really liked, and they were actually too tight. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy these pants because I'm gonna lose weight, and eventually I'll wear the pants. Y'all, I never ever gotten those pants. They were like a size 6. I don't even know why I bought them. But my point is that that was unrealistic. There wasn't a reason to do that. And focus on consistency over perfection. Y'all, it is about, if you could do something 3 times a week that you want to do 5 times a week for 6 weeks, that is so much better than trying to do it 5 times a week from the jump, and then you get burned out by week 3. So consistency over perfection all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So please comment below, but what is your biggest planning struggle? Because I'm going to build my next video probably based on your responses. What are you struggling with as we get ready to close out the year that you are really just not confident about when it comes to planning? And leave that down below. As always, I thank you guys for your support. I hope this was helpful. It was giving you something to think about, but not in an over dramatic, complex way. And I will see you guys next time.